back to Fresh Outlook on TWB. Well, lately it seems that all things sci-fi have dominated the social landscape. From TV shows to conventions, it's bringing together millions around the world. Let's take a look.
Last weekend, the BBC sci-fi series Doctor Who made its mid-season return to television. Now, in its 50th anniversary year, the program is hotter than ever for legions of fans on both sides of the Atlantic. Meanwhile, as actors William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy turned 82 last week, Hulu.com aired all 5 Star Trek TV shows on its site for free. But that's not all. To the delight of geeks and nerds everywhere, HBO's fantasy drama Game of Thrones and AMC's runaway zombie hit The Walking Dead each ruled the ratings this past Easter. It seems that science fiction isn't just a fringe phenomenon anymore.
And it doesn't seem like a fringe phenomenon. It seems to be everywhere. So to get more insight, let's introduce 2 more panelists to the show. Welcome. Let's start with Ken. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Well, my name is Ken Deep, and I'm the co-host of Doctor Who Podshock, and I'm the showrunner of Li Who, which is a Doctor Who convention on Long Island.
Oh, I'm from there. Go Strong Island.
Oh, yeah.
You're the guy to talk to about this topic. We'll get to it in just a moment. Let's introduce our other panelists. Barna, welcome.
Hi, I'm Barna Donovan. I'm an associate professor of communication at St. Peter's University.
Great. So panel, I ask you this, why the surge in sci-fi? Why is it more popular than ever? Ken, let's start with you.
It speaks to people. It's about dreams. It's about aspirations, about where we're going. People, there's so much negativity in the world, and science fiction, and in particular Doctor Who, has a very positive message. Star Trek did, Star Wars does, good and evil, and good conquering in the long run. I loved Star Trek because it had a great message about science and learning and improving the human condition. I think that's something that we all aspire to.
But why is it more popular than ever? Barna, what do you attribute it to? Is it the economy? Is it the state of affairs, social affairs?
I would say definitely a state of affairs. I'd say we live in a science fiction world. I mean, look at the way we live. We communicate and do just about everything in our lives online. We tweet, we have Facebook. You can almost literally say that you have so many people who live their lives on the internet. Things that we're worried about, things like where will genetic engineering technology go in the next few years, genetically modified foods, issues like this that we're grappling with every day, viruses that might sweep the world. I guess right now there's an outbreak of avian flu, again, I believe in China. These used to be the plots of science fiction films, and these are the science fiction novels and comic books, and this is our reality. So I would say that science fiction is probably, rather than being fringe, definitely not fringe, not cult.
No longer.
This is, no, absolutely not. This is the world that we're living in.
Right, it is the world that we're living in, so let's discuss this world. Dee, let's bring you into the mix. What are some of the biggest sort of sci-fi draws right now, some of the biggest shows, characters? What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, when you have these conventions, you have the Trekkies and you have the Star Wars, you know, and a lot of Star Wars folks, I love Star Wars series. You know, they're very upset because you have the new series coming out. That's a big deal, right? And they're like, oh, how could they do that? How could Disney be making the new movie? So that right there, you've got that group, and then Game of Thrones, I mean, The Walking Dead, and these shows are so wonderful, and they're so visually stimulating. And in the world we're in, I mean, everybody's big in the tech now and big into the gadgets, and it really is reality. If you talk to your grandmother or your parents even, they're like, wow, you know what? This seems like the shows that we watched when we were kids, and that's a reality, so it's fascinating to hear that.
Right. And Ken, what do you think, sort of in terms of like these terms that have become part of the common lexicon? Fandom, fanfic, and am I saying this right?
Yeah.
Cosplay?
Cosplay is
what are
costuming
these?
play.
Please define.
Fandom is the fans of science fiction. That's, if you were to describe people who follow things, you'd say what's happening in fandom.
Okay.
It's the culture of fans. Fanfic is fan fiction. It's people expressing their own stories. The Star Wars, Star Trek, Buffy, anything they like, they can write their own stories and they share it amongst their fans. Now with the internet, of course, we can share it around the world in a matter of seconds. You can get feedback from other people. The wonderful part about that is that they're becoming writers, and that's nice.
Right.
Anyone, you could live in the smallest town anywhere in the world, and publish yourself and be seen around the world.
I think that's what adds the biggest new dimension to this whole idea of sci-fi is the internet. It's sort of changed the rules of the entire game in terms of fanfic, in terms of people writing their own stories. We talk about Harry Potter, where there's alternate endings online. It's really changed the whole landscape of fandom as we know it.
And cosplay is the latest rage amongst the new generation of fans. It's costuming. It's basically dressing up and playing the role.
Oh, cosplay is costume
playing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are these now words in the dictionary, or they have not
They
reached
will
that?
be soon.
They will be soon, right?
Oxford English Dictionary just put Whovian, which is the term we use for Doctor Who fans, into the dictionary, so you know you've made it if you have Jedi and Whovian in there.
That's terrific. I know you specialize in Doctor Who, but let's talk about some of these conventions, because I feel like it used to be on the periphery, Comic-Cons and these con conventions, but no longer. It's no longer on the periphery. So you're dealing with San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con. For anyone out there who's not really familiar with what these are, who wants to take it? What is Comic-Con in a nutshell?
It's a giant science fiction convention.
Party.
And
It's a big party.
And a party too, right?
It definitely is a party.
Party before convention.
And that's actually probably one of the biggest changes. I've been going to conventions for almost 30 years, and when I started, it was more of a conference. You went, and it was very regimented, and you would sit and listen.
That's a very interesting distinction. It used to be a conference, now it's a party.
Yeah, because people want to have a good time. They want to immerse themselves in the experience, and by dressing up, which is probably one of the biggest parts of it, when you dress up in the part like an actor would, when the actors will say your costume can really sell your role. Well, it's the same thing if you're dressed as Harry Potter, if you're dressed as the Doctor, if you're dressed as Captain Kirk, you're going to feel the part.
Right.
Makes it more festive and fun.
Feeling the part, we have to feel a commercial break. So gotta stop it there. But we will continue the conversation when we continue on Fresh Outlook. We continue the sci-fi convo about specifically its social impact on marginalized groups in terms of racial background and gender. That's next on Fresh Outlook. Stay with us.